live.
All right, good morning everyone. Welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Bill Barheit. We are broadcasting live from Miami Beach. 2 years ago, started this from my living room just to see what would happen. Had a few hundred viewers. Now we've got about 100,000 people we reach a week. This is our opportunity to get into all things crypto. So I got to give a shout out to the Abra team. You guys have been killing it. We've brought in literally a couple 100,000 new users over the last couple of weeks. It's been insane. I see people on the live stream from India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Philippines, Central America, all over Europe, and of course here in the US, Canada, and Mexico. So welcome to all of you. Before we get into the topic of the week, which of course is NFTs, we'll talk about what an NFT is. I want to give you all a quick, well, for those of you online, you'll see it. Those of you here in our live audience, you'll see the Abra logo on the pillows and the hats. But we've got a little bit of a rebrand going on at Abra. And so I'm going to give you guys just a quick overview of what it looks like. We unveiled the redesign yesterday, so if you update your Abra app, you're going to see it. Our mission, right, we've really simplified it. Our mission right now is simply to help all of you conquer crypto, right? And so here you see, this is super cool. I could watch this all day long. Abra conquering crypto. All right, so we've got a really cool article, blog article on our website, abra.com, explains the rebrand, how the logo and the Conquer Crypto moniker relates to our mission. And as you all know, we're a very user-centric company, and the idea was to put the rebrand, really simplify everything. Put the user at the center, and basically go all in on the crypto market, and hence the moniker Conquer Crypto. And so we hope you all like the new visuals. I'll stop that share there. And so later in the show, we're going to do our regular market update, a lot of news. Gensler's at it again. We've got Omicron pushing the markets down this morning, changing in real time. We'll have an update on that, Abra Perks, and of course CPRX, what everybody on the live stream wants to talk about. All right, so before we get to all of that, the big reason we're here today is to talk about NFTs. Now, for our audience, most of you have had exposure to NFTs. Most of you on the live stream probably have not, unless you're playing some games. So let me just give you my take on NFTs really quickly. So NFT, non-fungible token. What does non-fungible token mean? How many of you could actually explain? First of all, how many could even explain what the word fungible really means? All right, so let me give you like a 30-second primer. You want to impress your girlfriend, guys? Explain fungible on your next date. So here we go. So you've got a dollar bill in your left hand, you got a dollar bill in your right hand, or somebody else has a dollar bill. If you swap them, you both have a dollar bill, you can both spend the money. It's more or less the same dollar bill. That's because the dollars are fungible. You can swap them and you more or less have the same value. If you both are going to a concert and you've got a ticket in row 1 and the other person's got a ticket in row 50 and you swap them, you don't have the same rights anymore. One person now has a right to row 1 and the other person has a right to row 50, and when you swap them, you basically are swapping your rights to where you're going to be sitting. So they're not fungible, right? Now you can trade them if you want to, but you're giving up something of lesser value to something with more value, okay? So those really aren't fungible, okay? So the idea with non-fungible tokens is we can capture rights digitally to things that aren't easily fungible, meaning a ticket in row 1, a ticket in row 50, my rights to a digital JPEG, my rights to a Renoir, all on the surface don't seem to be readily swappable, seem more like apples versus bicycles, right? And so the idea of non-fungible tokens is we can do for all of these things that we can own what we've also already done with money via Bitcoin and stable coins and ICOs and things like that. So the idea behind NFTs is obviously therefore much, much bigger than simply art or collectibles, even though that's the reason we're all here today. But right now, it's obviously art and collectibles, which is getting everybody super excited about NFTs. But my prediction is you're going to see NFTs change concert ticketing. They're going to change music rights. They're going to change how we learn. You're going to see gaming change. The whole idea of the metaverse is that I can actually have digital objects that I can take in and out, and you're going to have parallel universes where you can take objects in and out. Not just the money, but all of the things that I own, I'm going to be able to take with me, all right? So, that having been said, that's my 30-second, and hopefully you all wrote that down so you can impress your next date. Let's get into NFTs as it relates to art and collectibles. So I have a special guest with me here today. Mr. E, welcome.
How you doing?
All right. So typically, like I said, we have guests on Money Talks where we go deep in domain and market expertise. But because we're here at Art Basel, we're going to change it up. And we're going to talk to Mr. E, a contemporary American artist known for your creative use of rainbow-colored $100 bills. I don't know if I'm doing justice. I'm sure I'm not, because I've seen it. What I've seen looks pretty damn cool, actually. But you're giving banknotes a more playful look, and I think what will also impress a lot of people, you've got some pretty notable collectors in your portfolio. I've heard about Miley Cyrus. I've heard about Adam Sandler. I don't know, probably some more cool names you could drop. So tell us about, before we get into NFTs, just tell us about yourself and your journey as an artist.
My journey as an artist. I've been painting since I'm a little kid, but I never really thought that it was going to be my career path, you know. And I just one day it clicked with me when I was working at a real job, and you know, this is what I wanted to do. But I think, are you talking more about in terms of the?
Well, how'd you get here today?
Money? How'd the money start? I think that the money is a better way for people to justify a value, right, in the art. So automatically, like when they see money, it was you know, worth more, I guess, as art. But for me, it was sort of the idea of making my own money, like literally and figuratively. And I think that's what NFTs has sort of allowed artists and anyone to do, is just sort of create your own currency, you know, and a unique one.
Yep. So how did you, like, what was your first exposure to this new NFT world?
A long time ago, actually. Probably like 2017. People were starting to talk about it, and I was like, yeah, maybe, you know, we'll see, you know. And I think that the way that NFTs have evolved, like at the beginning, is sort of like the Wild West, you know? And I think that's why artists have sort of really spearheaded it and capitalized at the beginning. But I think, like you said, I think the real future of NFTs is in anything, right? So like, you could have bought your ticket to this event as an NFT.
That's right.
And like the way that someone would sell, you know, their stub from, you know, Led Zeppelin at Madison Square Garden in 1973, like now they'll sell that NFT, you know? So it's just a whole, we're going from a society that's selling things to selling an idea, you know? And you could sell anything now.
Yeah. So that's actually really well said, because what NFTs to me mean is capturing rights. So if you go from selling things to selling ideas, and now as an artist or an owner, you're actually selling rights.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me yesterday, well, why would I care if I can actually own the Renoir, right? I actually talked to a lady who was actually working on digital rights for very well-known, you know, artists up through like from the literally 1700s through early 1900s, and says we're now basically starting to package digital rights.
Yeah.
So she got it, right? And I said to her, I said, don't you get the question, why do people care about these digital rights versus the physical rights? And for the people that already own the physical rights, do they feel like they're giving anything up, or they just don't care? And I'm curious, what do you take on that?
Well, a lot of people say like, well, NFT is going to replace art. I think it's different, you know, and just like you said that, like, it's just like, why do people buy, you know, a Basquiat print that was stamped by his estate?
Yeah.
I don't, like, he never saw it or saw it, right? So I think if people overcome that concept of like, why do you buy things? I think that because NFTs, you can see who bought them and how much they bought them,
Yep.
and a whole transaction history. That at the end of the day, it's sad, but like people are really just trading,
Yep.
value. I don't think it's as much about art as just the idea that it's a definite thing,
Yep.
that has a proven value.
Yeah. Well, what I find fascinating about it is I think that what's going to happen is, at least for the physical art that's now basically transitioning into the NFT space, is you're going to have rights that you capture to basically put in your digital real estate in the metaverse, where you have the right to display that art, but maybe somebody else doesn't. And that's amazing to me, because we're already seeing deals where hedge funds or private equity funds are spending millions of dollars to own property, but what are they going to put in that property?
Yeah.
It's
very interesting to look at it that way, because if you're selling something physically and you're selling something digitally, I think it's only going to enhance the physical things. Like that's why nowadays, with COVID, there's such a demand for physical items now, and I think because so many people are making money in the digital world.
Yep.
We have a shortage of people that want to make money in the physical world too.
Interesting.
And I think that's going to pan out. I think that's why the digital world is being created, though. It's sad to say, but I think for a family, a middle-class family who can't afford to take their kids to Disney World, you're going to go, in the metaverse. You're going to spend a fraction of the money and do it digitally and put on headsets. I think that's where we're going.
That's super cool.
Scary.
Is there something about that feels like hype to you? Or is it not even hyped enough, or somewhere in between?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't like the word hype.
Well, somebody said to me, is this like a tulip mania?
Yeah, but I think it's different now because, for the longest time, right, the government has control of our money, right, and then it was backed by gold, right. So and everyone used gold, and then we came off the gold standard, right? And U.S. currency is the standard of the whole world. And so now we're just printing money. So at this point, really what NFTs are allowing is just anyone to print their own money. That's what I was saying. How I started painting money was I literally was I'm going to make my own money.
Yep.
And then I have control of my own destiny,
Yep.
So I think that's what.
So one of the things that, we've been looking hard at this space at Abra, and so far what we're seeing is kind of mostly the crypto initiated who have access to Ethereum, know how to get access to crypto, have heard of MetaMask, or at least know how to deal with it, because it's obviously, you almost have to have a PhD in computer science to be able to navigate MetaMask and get in. What the fuck is a 721 contract kind of thing. So how is this going to eventually get into the hands of the mainstream collectors who are actually not the people buying NFTs today?
No,
or is it? Is it just a whole new audience?
There's some overlap, but I think there's still a lot of people that don't believe in NFTs. And there's a lot of people that are pioneering the NFT space that have, did nothing in the real art world, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, that bothers a lot of people, but I don't think it should, I think it's, if you can do it, great.
I have a theory on why it bothers people, or it bothers collectors, right? Because, and this goes back to your comment about government money printing. That's what we talk about here on Money Talks, right? About why Bitcoin is so important, why Ethereum is so important. I think that traditionally the wealthy collect art as a hedge, right? And history has shown it's got one of the best returns because artist dies. There's no more, they don't have their finger on the art print button anymore. So we know that there's basically a fixed amount of that art. So now what you're basically doing with NFTs is you're democratizing access. And that's what we talk about with financial services via Abra, is democratizing access to financial services. Well, NFT space is democratizing access to all things creative and your rights to own a piece of all things creative. Well, that's somewhat orthogonal to the idea of basically, just the wealthy owning a piece of a Renoir.
Yeah.
Right? And beyond just the NFT space, there's now financial services, right, like Artworks and others that will let you invest in these things that only
fractional
fractional ownership, right? And so you combine that with NFTs, and it's no longer just just for the wealthy. I
Yeah.
think that's probably, beyond the fact that it's too hard for most old people to use with MetaMask and other things, which is going to change.
Yeah.
I think the bigger issue is, well, it's not just us owning it anymore. And I think that scares them probably more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think crypto did that first, right?
100%.
And obviously the NFT world wouldn't be where it is right now if the crypto world wasn't where it is right now. I think you could compare it to like, there's a lot of people that walked into a casino with $100, and turned it into 100,000 right now, and they don't know what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So they made money, and now they think they're smart. So it's like, I think those are the people that are believing in NFTs more, and you need that,
Yeah.
You need the people that have the balls and, just the foresight that like, oh, we can all shift this market. And I think that's what's happening now.
Yep.
That probably happened in like, in the financial world in like the
Yep.
like late 80s, early 90s, like, and now it's like, how do you regulate this? Because people can manipulate,
Right.
the prices of anything
Yeah.
in the NFT space.
Yeah, and believe, I actually think there's going to be securities law issues here, because you can take a digital collectible, break it into multiple pieces, sell it off, and then there's an open question now, is that a security?
Yeah.
Have you just taken something that was just art and effectively turned it into a securities offering? And if our new illustrious SEC chairman is consistent in all the nonsense he's been spewing, he would clearly claim that that's a securities offering.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been tested yet, right? So not only is it scary from just a what the F is MetaMask perspective, but now we've got like traditional finance and banking law and securities law overlaid on top of what was just an art, collector's space.
Yeah, and if you think about it, another thing, art's always been probably the only, industry that's unregulated.
Right.
And I think that's the appeal to, like with NFTs, why there was a push at the beginning too, because
100%.
they're, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So let's segue into your installation here. So you've got an installation here at Art Basel called 100.
Yep.
So tell us about it. What was the genesis for that? How did it come to be?
So I was always like the $100 bill that I would most be known for. Sort of my thing with that was money isn't real. And I would say, because I would hand them these fake $100 bills, and people would say like, oh, that's not real. And I'd say, money isn't real, because what if I told you that is worth more than if I gave you,
Sure.
what you think is a real $100 bill, right?
Yeah.
So it's like just putting that in people's mind. And but what is real, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, like, that's what's important. What's real, right? So people are real. 100 is real, right? 100's 100% authentic. Sounds cheesy, but it's like people say, keep it 100, keep it real. So this installation is on the $100 bill. There's a pattern of hundreds, and it's a security feature, mm-hmm. and it prevents, like if you put a $100 bill in a copy machine, it won't copy it. So I use that pattern to say this is authentic, this is real, because it's a unique pattern of hundreds. The installation is combining like physical art with an NFT and also an interactive experience, so you actually walk inside what your NFT will look like.
Wow.
So the idea is that it's sort of like, has a little bit of everything in it. Because to be honest with you, I've been very hesitant into jumping into the NFT space because I like to really understand it first. And I think we're still in a real infancy stage of it.
Now you had to partner with somebody to code. Are you doing it in Ethereum or Solana or something?
It's going to be in Ethereum.
Yep.
It's going to be a generative NFT.
Very cool.
And
so let's stop there. So for a lot of people may not understand the word generative NFT.
Yeah.
So hard enough NFT. What is a generative NFT?
So I think like the first wave of NFTs that became really popular were animated. Like there were 2D artists, visual artists that were animating their work. Mm-hmm. That was like what everyone thought was cool at the beginning. And then it went to like the crypto punks and the apes, so it's like 10,000 unique characters, right, and all their different features and everything. Now I think generative NFTs, which are all generated randomly upon like minting. I think that's the next thing. I mean, to me, the coolest part about NFTs is the clubs that are formed around them. And I've always had that thing that, before NFTs, I wanted to have a club. So if you owned one of my paintings, you had access to other things, right? Because at the end of the day, that's why a lot of people buy art, right?
Right.
You want someone to walk into your house and recognize that painting on the wall and think you're cool, right?
Yep. So hence the name Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah, so I think they've done a great job of making people, like look at things in a different way. Also, you own your rights to your ape, right? I mean, now there's Universal Music just bought like 4 apes, and they're making a band, like with apes. So
looking like the Beatles.
Yeah. I mean, I think one day, people are gonna just be walking around with a mask of their ape. Like they're already starting to actually do it.
So that brings up another part to this whole kind of NFT meets metaverse meets social media world, which is, people are going to have their, what do they call it, PFE or personal avatar?
Yeah.
Right. Which now a lot of people are making it look like their CryptoPunk or their Bored Ape or their Mutant Ape or whatever they've got, and or they have their yacht little link, which is those emoji things that represent who you are. And they don't want to change them over time because it actually is part of their identity.
Yeah.
And you may take it with you for the rest of your life. So this is something that I think even 2 years ago no one really considered, was that a digital collectible would actually become part of your personal identity.
It's scary, I think, because I like just how people like when movies came out, right? And people would go to a movie theater. I bet you there were people that thought it was stupid. They're like, well, I don't want to sit in a room with a bunch of people in chairs watching something on a screen. Like, that's not real. I want to go to see a play, And then, like, I feel like now at this point, everyone's going to have their own, everyone's an actor, in their own little world. And, like, who you are in your social currency versus who you are, in real life are going to be 2 totally different things for most people.
Yeah. Do you think that NFT art and non-NFT art will actually bifurcate? Do you think all art eventually becomes NFT art, even if it has a physical component?
I look at it like it's just like making, like, I make paintings, I make sculptures, I make neon signs, like it's just another type of art. I don't think it replaces it. I think it's going to cool down, honestly. I think there's a big rush right now because it's a new cool thing in art. And every artist thinks they have to be doing an NFT, and I don't think that's true at all. I almost think there's a value to not doing it too, and like, if you were always a sculptor and you sculpt, bronze, then, and you want to do that for the rest of your life.
So you think like one downside could be is like it's a little defocusing maybe for the artist who's really all about sculpture?
Yeah, because every artist thinks they need to be doing it right now.
Right. Well, that's every...
Because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't care what anyone says, they're doing it for the money. They're not doing it for, some like beautiful artistic purpose. Then I don't think.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's an analogy there, which is every boardroom in the world right now is talking about what's our crypto strategy. And, I've seen companies now popping up, like Blau's company, and
everyone's taking it seriously now.
It's all about basically packaging and selling rights.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking at how is my brand going to get into the metaverse? And, it's exactly what happened in 96, 97 with .com.
I don't think the thing people are missing is that the brand is good. Maybe it's really valuable, but I think the shelf life of that brand, like Coca-Cola, M&M, Snickers, like these brands took 100 years to get to where they are now. And I think in that generation, that meant something different. Now, it's easier to get to the top, but it's a lot easier, for everyone to forget about you because there's so much out there.
Yep.
Cool. So,
what about other artists? What are you excited about that you've seen out there? Maybe not even here yet, but just in general, like, are there other NFT-oriented projects that you've seen that have gotten? We talked about Bored Apes, obviously. Which
I like the ones that are actually selling. Like you're becoming a part of something, And I think that's really cool. Like there should be more focused things, people that like to do certain things, so you're getting use out of it, I think the same way people would join like a country club, like now, this is going to be this generation's country club.
So basically an NFT collection that might make you part of a tribe or part of a group.
What Damien Hirst did with his the currency.
Yeah.
So he created 10,000 actual paintings, and you can decide over a year's time if you want the physical or the digital one.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool because it makes you actually think. To me, like, that's art, But there's so many, people trying to jump on like the apes and stuff, and I think those things they'll fade away pretty quickly.
Sure. When you talk to other artists, do you all have kind of a common perception of what this stuff means? Are people confused?
No.
Is it all over the map?
The people, well, I mean, I talk to artists that are doing it, I talk to artists that aren't doing it, and there's artists that are doing it that aren't doing well in it, because the other thing is like everyone's not gonna, sell millions of dollars worth of these things, right? There's not that many people spending that much money.
Yep.
You only hear about the successful ones.
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone's talking about it though, that's for sure.
Yep, got it. So where can people go to learn more about your work, Mr. E, see the installation?
Well, the installation's right here for everyone that's actually here, over there.
Yep.
My Instagram, at Mr. E, MISTER_E. And there's a dedicated site for the project that's on my Instagram, but it's actually the serial number of my sweatshirt right here.
Yep. And then for everybody here, you'll also be here tonight and talking to people and looking forward to that. Yep.
And after, we'll hang around for a little bit.
Cool. All right. So thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. You're welcome to stay. We're going to do the next segment, but yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mr. E, everyone. All right. Thanks, bud.
Oh, my phone.
Yep. No, don't forget that. All your NFTs are on there. All right. So before we get to the next segment, I think for those of you online, we've got our rewards video. So play it. All right, that was awesome. Thanks again, Mr. E. I'm going to go check out some of your work here at the show and online later on. So quickly, let's do some market news. We've got a lot of chatter here about what's going on. For those of you who haven't noticed, the stock markets took a bit of a beating on Omicron news and some fear there. So we're still in the channel, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So just some quick updates. We did have a whole bunch of nonsensical talk about. The word transitory is no longer allowed. So the Fed has decided that they're going to change the definition of the word transitory to no longer mean transitory. So what I told you was nonsense turned out to be pure nonsense, and inflation is here to stay. Big surprise. Scc has rejected another Etf application. Wisdom Tree bites the dust. My understanding is that this is going to end up in the courts. DCG/Grayscale is now basically threatening to sue the SEC, claiming that that their approval of a futures-based ETF is unfair. This is obviously nonsense again. Futures-based ETF makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and at a minimum we should have a spot ETF. Now, honestly, nobody should be buying Bitcoin via an ETF anyway, but if you're going to have an ETF, it should certainly be spot-based. So this is going to play out in the courts, which is exactly what we predicted would happen. In the meantime, Wisdom Tree has also launched a crypto index for their investment advisors to figure out how to give broad market access to myriad crypto assets. Blockchain.com has introduced a new NFT marketplace, so congrats to Peter and team there, super cool. I'll be checking that out. What else we got in the news? Goldman looking to do Bitcoin and crypto-backed loans, big surprise. Our lending business at Abra is booming. As we told you, the banks are going to get into this space. This is the future of lending. They already do this with equities. If you're a wealthy client, you borrow against your equities. That's what everybody's done for years. And now it looks like they're going to allow people to do this with crypto, which is exactly what Abra allows you to do today. zero interest loan on crypto assets. Good luck to them on that. Hut 8 is now holding something like 300 Bitcoin they announced, and they're not selling. So actually, sorry, they mined another 300 Bitcoin, but they're holding over 5,000 in reserves with no intention of selling. So congrats to them. Got a lot of friends at Hut 8. They're killing it. So we're going to do a couple of shows on mining in December and January. I'm really excited about. So speaking of which, Van Eck, who also had their ETF application rejected for a spot ETF, is launching a digital asset mining ETF, which will obviously be comprised of public equities. And 80% of the assets are going to go into digital mining firms. So that's pretty cool. So those people who want broad exposure to the mining space can do that via the. Another exploit. So Badger DAO protocol suffers $120 million exploit. Hackers targeted the platform's user interface. How many times do I have to say this? Test your shit. It is not that hard to spend a few extra weeks or even a couple of months to basically put your smart contracts, your user interface through extensive testing. People refuse to do it. They release too quickly. Users pay the price. Use DeFi services with a healthy bout of skepticism, and don't put money into DeFi that you're not willing to lose, because these exploits are going to happen until people change their perspective on testing and contract audits, et cetera, et cetera. Facebook is now allowing crypto ads, so I guess your Facebook feeds are going to be full of crypto ads. Excited about that. So, yeah, not only do we have NFT art going on in Miami, we also have in Florida the Kleinman versus Wright suit. The Who is Satoshi lawsuit looks like it's going to end in a hung jury, which means more job security for the judicial system in Florida when they have to retry the case. Very interesting. So Craig Wright is going to manage to stay in the news a few months longer, but it looks like they're going to have to retry that. And for those of you who don't know the background of that, Dave Kleinman, who supposedly is one of the 3 or 4 people involved in the creation of Bitcoin, passed away. His estate sued Craig Wright, who claims to be the creator of Bitcoin, which is probably nonsense, but anyway, they're involved in a lawsuit to figure out who gets access to the Bitcoin that probably doesn't exist anyway. So interesting, probably be a movie there at some point. And we've got a whole bunch of VC news. The amount of money pouring into the crypto NFT space, VCs getting into NFTs right now is astounding. The amount of VC money getting into the mining space right now is astounding. Just saw Marathon Digital announced adding another 100,000 Bitcoin miners, which are actually going to be carbon neutral or carbon net negative, which is pretty interesting. So congrats to them. This is on top of another deal they signed for 73,000 miners back in the spring. So the migration out of China, plane going overhead here, the migration out of China is basically complete. I think the hash power will catch up to where it was in the next few weeks, if not early next year, or late Q1, and then we'll basically power ahead of where we were pre-China crackdown, and we'll see what that means for the Bitcoin price. And a whole bunch of NFT news. I'm not going to bore you with all of it, but it's incredible the amount of NFT news I'm seeing this week. Tezos, they have an NFT platform. They signed Pitbull to a multi-year deal. You're going to be seeing a whole bunch of artists signing deals in the NFT space, just like you're seeing promotional deals in the crypto space. Okay, so enough of that. Let's talk about prices. So I'm getting about 1,000 questions here on the live stream. What's going to happen and when? So sorry for those of you here in the live can't see my charts like everyone online, but I'll try to explain to you what's going on. So basically, Bitcoin is today 55,000. Another pullback. So we're basically in the same channel we were basically in when in mid-October, right? So it looks like Bitcoin is going to pull back to the 200-day moving average. If it bounces off of that, I think we spring higher and end up, like I said, in that 100,000 to 200,000 range. And I think that's going to happen probably later than we would have expected. I thought it might happen in December. Again, as I've told you many times, Bitcoin has no concept of time and dates. It doesn't know what December is, doesn't know what November is. It's just going to do what it's going to do. A ton of on-chain metrics right now. Let me share my screen here and just show you what I'm seeing live. So let me bring this up and share this. All right, so here's where we are with Bitcoin. Like I said, we're at about 55,000. When in doubt, zoom out. So let me go to the weekly. Weekly here, you can see we're still in a pullback in a massive uptrend off of the lows in mid-July, where we went from 29-ish up to about 67, and that channel is still holding. So as I said, if we bounce off the 200-day moving average, the channel holds. That's a massive amount of potential energy, which is going to propel the markets higher, in my opinion. If the 200-day moving average doesn't hold, that means the run-up was a dead cat bounce, and we're back to new lows, in my opinion. I don't think that's going to happen. All right, so Ethereum is looking way more bullish than Bitcoin. The lows from March, basically in March of last year, where we were at about 115, has represented more or less a massive up channel to 4,700. One of the biggest bull market runs in modern history has been Ethereum over the last 18 months. And right now, this baby looks like it wants to go to 15,000. Strong hands basically buying Ethereum right now. On DEXs, it's only the whales that are able to buy because the mining, the gas fees are so high, but still seeing lots of volume on the DEXs, lots of volume on the exchanges. I think that Ethereum is going to lead the way. Ethereum is basically telling me right now, short-term consolidation, volume coming down, looks like it wants to go to 15,000. So I'll come back in here on the daily on Ethereum, and you can see, let me zoom in here. Yeah, you can see we're basically consolidating in high 4,000s, which is truly incredible. For those of you who've been following this space, it's basically consolidating. And I think if it wasn't for Omicron news this week, we would be at 6,000 Ethereum already. I really believe that. So as I've said to you before, the technicals are clear, the on-chain metrics are clear. The only thing that's going to trump that is significant news cycles. We had a very significant pullback in equities this morning. I haven't looked at it in the last couple of hours because I've been working on the show, but I know that, let me see if I've got it here. I think I do. So I've got my watch list. Yes. So we've got S&P down 1%, but big engulfing bar for the last 3 days, which means that all of the gains from yesterday wiped out. So the S&P right now in the short term looks really bearish, 100% Omicron fear-based. Usually over the last year or so, crypto and stocks have been uncorrelated, except in super large pullbacks. And so if we get a meltdown in the S&P because of Omicron fear, meaning the Biden administration doesn't basically announce massive stimulus, and if they don't, by the way, the Fed will, but if they don't announce massive stimulus right away, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a meltdown in stocks, which could pull Bitcoin down to that moving average again. And again, at that point, it's do or die. So I think this will play itself out by the time we see next week's show. We'll see. But again, still, even with the Omicron fear, we're still in an uptrend, and we're still in that consolidation channel on the uptrend. On the technicals, I read through a whole bunch of daily on-chain metrics this morning. I'll show you this. This is super cool. This kid posted. Let me see if I can find this here. Go back to my feed. You got to take a look at this. One of the better on-chain metrics analyses that I've seen. So I'll come over here, and I posted it this morning for you to take a look at. And here we are. Yeah. So by the way, Plan B, stock to flow. What he wrote this morning, right? So we're right in that channel. So if you look at it, he put Bollinger Bands about 1 standard deviation. We're right at the bottom of that channel. So for technical traders, they're going to look at this and basically wait for retail maximum fear and basically fade that. And you're going to see a huge amount of liquidations if we get down into that 52, 53 range and a massive short squeeze. So that would be the ideal scenario for me, right? a whole bunch of fear coming in. We get down to 53,000. Huge short squeeze for the levers, acts as fuel to propel this to 75 right away. And I'd love to see that happen next week. And so we could still see, believe it or not, 80, 85K Bitcoin in December. So remember, those large run-ups, they happen really fast. I'm not even talking weeks and months, I'm talking days. Right, so we had run-ups in 2017 where we had that 19K capitulation where we had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% a day over multiple days, which got us from like 8,000 to 19,000. It literally happened within 2 weeks if you go back and look at the charts. So that's Plan B's commentary, and then like I said, some really interesting on-chain metrics here from Phoenix. I put the entire thread on here. I'm not going to go through all 53 tweets, but it's really worth a read. It's one of the better analysis that I've seen. Obviously, we talk about Willy Woo all the time and Will Clemente, and it looks like Phoenix is budding to join that group. He explains in really good terms why retail is going to get decimated here when the maximum fear sets in over the next couple of weeks, if it does. It could just be that that strong hands come in and propel us higher. We're not at maximum fear like we were a couple of weeks ago. That fear-greed index has us at about 34, which is slightly below kind of market neutral. It needs to go a little bit lower, and then I get really excited. And like I said, it looks like it's going to happen. So like I said, last month we were at kind of maximum greed. Last week we were in not quite maximum fear, but on the way there. And unfortunately, we came up a little bit, and Omicron has got everybody a little bit confused right now. But the beauty of these on-chain metrics is you can't hide anything. Right? So we've got declining funding rates, and we've got falling sentiment equaling, obviously, falling funding rates. And when Bitcoin trends lower, people are just too scared to go long. And as time goes by, and bottoms often form when these futures funding is near the baseline or negative, and we're approaching that point now. So all of these things converging at the same time are going to play themselves out next week. So. All right, so I'm sure our NFT crowd here is going, what the F is Bill talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about, but that's our on-chain analysis for today. I'm going to do some quick Q&A. So for those of you in the US bombarding me with questions about your AbraPerks, CPerks trading, it looks like we're finishing testing now, and that will go live next week. So CPRX trading live next week. Good news there. Thanks for your patience. Massive amount of CPerks rewards being floated right now across, I mentioned earlier, a dozen countries. We've seen a few 100,000, I'm not exaggerating, a few 100,000 users coming into Abra via every country you could imagine. I've been to 65 countries in my life, and I still had to get out my map to figure out where all you people are coming in from. I saw a huge number of users last week coming in from India and Bangladesh and Turkey, Philippines, of course, where we continue to kill it. Here in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, I'm seeing Central America. Shout out to our friends in Central America in the third row, right on. But the numbers have been fantastic. Largest influx of user numbers we've ever seen in the last month in a flat market. And so a lot of that is due to the massive uptakes of CPRX. Okay, so I'll take two questions here, and then we'll call it a day. I apologize for the audio problems up front, but great job to the team for getting that fixed. And let's see. A lot of people asking about the US trading. So are there any countries that are blocked from trading CPRX besides the US? Only countries where Abra's blocked today, so no problem there. Don't ask support questions on the live stream. Send your support questions into support. And by the way, like I said, we've had, normally we get a few thousand support requests a day. Now it's in the tens of thousands. So you got to bear with them right now. They're working overtime and insane hours, and we're also bringing a lot of people up to speed right now. If you see CPRX in your pending balance, please don't send a note to support right now. It will go to your actual trading account balance, even if it takes a couple of days. And let's see, so two more questions here. We would love to see Meltem on the mining. Okay, great. So we'll work on getting Meltem on the mining show that we're going to do in a couple of weeks. Thanks for the feedback. Mr. E was awesome. Can you post it? Yeah, we'll post his URL to the live stream notes. And loving the new app design. Lots of comments on the app design. Those of you in the audience who didn't see it, this is the new Abra logo. Super cool. Where's my pillow? Lost my pillow. So really excited about. Oh, what's that? Oh, they put it in the front, so those of you in the audience can see the, or on the camera can see the logo. So, all right, that's it for today. So we're going to wrap this up. We've got. Oh, there it is. Abra logo. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got just huge number. Oh, don't forget to like. If you're on YouTube and on Facebook, it helps us in terms of the search results. We've got hundreds of likes already. Keep it going. Subscribe. We had probably 5,000 new subscribers this week. We're reaching about 125,000 people a week now. Can't believe this. Just from a few hundred people about 18 months ago in my living room at the beginning of lockdown. And yeah, so press that like button, and that's it. So Abra logo is the best. Thank Rafi. I agree. All right, so that's it for today. I'm tired. So, and I got a big party tonight. So we'll see you next week on Money Talks. Thanks, Abra team. Thanks, Mr. Wizard. See you all next week. Thank you.